next up on the docket here, guys?
What are our opinions on intermittent fasting? Dillon has played around with intermittent fasting a lot more than I have. I'd say
your take on it, though.
Yeah, I'd say like I do, for the most part, I would say intermittent fast. Like I'm not as hungry in the morning, so I just choose to eat around noon for the most part. And then I'll usually eat around till about 8 or 9. So I pretty much kind of do an intermittent fast, but not really on purpose. And then if I do wake up and I'm hungry, I'll eat. But I do think there's a lot of really good benefits to intermittent fasting if you do it properly. I mean, I think some people get caught up on intermittent fasting as like a diet, whereas it's a way you're eating. It's like a lifestyle, right? And
But you can apply you could be keto and intermittent fast.
Exactly.
You could be, all these actual diet, paleo, whatever. But you could make that fasting because it's just the time that you're eating.
Exactly. So like, if you are someone who has to wake up at 3 a.m. and you work until like 4 p.m. and go to bed early, like you could make intermittent fasting work really well for you there. But if you're someone who's up from like 4 a.m. until midnight or something, like intermittent fasting might be difficult for you because you're awake for a way longer period of time too. So, and that's where like for me, I don't have a very big sleep window for the most part. So like I was kind of struggling when I tried doing intermittent fasting consistently. But yeah, in terms of like, I would say if you are thinking about it, just think about like your lifestyle and like why you're wanting to do it. Not necessarily for fat loss, though you can use it to optimize fat loss. I think just make sure it's something that's like suitable for your lifestyle. That's the same with keto. We were saying like keto or like high carb, low fat, like whatever you decide to do, like carb cycling, make sure it fits your lifestyle. That's what this is a lifestyle, right?
Your life fit the diet,
exactly.
Right?
Like the more you can make it fit your lifestyle, the more you will look at it as a lifestyle because it's easy. If you're trying to force something, it's not going to be easy.
No.
Anyways, you can talk more about like.
I won't touch on it too much because you covered a lot of the stuff. Intermittent fasting, and I don't even like putting a name on it, but basically that's what I do now. So like I usually eat my first meal. I don't have like set times where like, oh, it's not 3 o'clock, so I don't eat. If I'm hungry, usually I naturally get hungry between 12 and 2, and then I've adapted to that because I have pushed it a little bit too. I have played around with longer fasts, more so to test my willpower for one, and just see how I felt. I'm one of these guys that's not scared to try something. But like, so right now I'll eat at like 2, 7:30, and right before bed. And the reason I do that is because it fits my life right now. I travel a lot, so I don't have to worry about usually so much about like if I'm in the airport bringing meals with me all the time. Usually I can get to my next destination in that time frame. Also, in my corporate job, because I'm the boss, I don't ever usually work past 3 o'clock. So like I never not eat at home. Like I always have a cooked meal that I've made fresh. I mean that's huge, right?
Nice, yeah.
Who wants to eat out of a Tupperware? I did that for 6 to 8 meals for a day out of Tupperwares for a long time.
Yeah.
I will say this very quickly. I don't want to get too much into this because it'll take forever. But intermittent fasting isn't a magic thing. It's can you restrict your calories? If it helps you restrict your calories in a 24-hour period, that will help you lose weight. Intermittent fasting itself is not going to help you lose weight. And also, in my opinion, the guy that came up with like the 16 and 8, there's no literature, there's no anything proving like the benefits of fasting, like higher mental cognition, all these things, like getting your body primed to take in the nutrients. That all happens after about 24 hours, not 16. But he just kind of like took the literature from 24 and 48 hour fasts and then thought, well, like people will be able to do 16 and 8, so like here I'll sell you this crap, right? So anyway.
And it's like anything though, like nothing's magic, you guys.
No, like, and that's whether it's keto and stuff.
Yeah.
Granted, there are outliers that some people may respond better.
Yeah.
But when we're talking a general population, it's very few percent. It's like under 2%.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think that's what I need to say about that.
The next question is when we have clients, whether their goal was to gain weight, and that's what they're coming to us for, or lose weight, how do we know what calories, how many calories are we adding if they're trying to gain weight, or how many calories are we taking away if they're trying to lose weight?
So, like, again, it kind of depends on the person and whatnot.
Subjective, really subjective.
But I like to kind of, when I first get a client, depending, not always, but I like to kind of start them around their maintenance calories, see how their body responds, and then kind of go from there, because I can kind of see from that I can figure out where their maintenance calories actually are, because you can do a simple calculation, but again, every single person's different, so what you kind of think is going to be their maintenance, it might be lower or higher. So I like to kind of start them around that first, actually figure out where their maintenance calories, go from there. And then I find like a good rule of thumb is like around 100 calories to 200, depending on the person,
which is
a week.
10 to 20%.
Yeah.
Depending on what the person's at.
And then, yeah, it depends on what their goals are, like, and if they're male, they're female, if they're older, younger, like where you're gonna pull those calories or add calories to and from. Like, for example, if you have someone who's like a very long distance runner, versus someone who's doing more like HIIT style training. For HIIT, you need a lot of carbs, because that's where your main energy source is coming from. For longer distance, you actually get more of your energy from your fat.
From ketone sources.
So you're tapping into two different systems, your aerobic and your anaerobic. So it depends what style of training they're doing. And then again, like, it depends too, like if they're wanting to gain muscle or if they're wanting to lose fat. If they're wanting to do both, like if you're wanting to cut but keep a lot of muscle, like it really depends.
Super specific on the person's goal and what their training style is, and subjective.
And it takes a little bit of trial and error too. Like sometimes, a lot of times actually.
Coaches don't want to say that like they don't know.
No,
you know, like honestly, guys, I don't know ever. It's like educated guessing based on previous experiences and science.
Yeah.
I don't know,
and like there's always that person that
there's outliers.
Yeah,
right?
There's always that person that like you'll do something with and you're like, damn, that didn't work, but I truly thought
and
it was
I thought
going
it was
to.
just like 100%.
Yeah, or vice versa. Like you might, okay, this is kind of a big shot, but I'm gonna try it, and it's like boom, their body responds. So like
I will say. I think the context of this question was being asked like because they wanted to know what they should do with themselves. I've kind of put them into categories for myself as a coach. Usually the person that's lean and wants to gain weight will come to me and say, Dillon, I've tried everything. I eat everything in sight. I look at their diet and then I have to double it because they don't even eat close to what they think they do, and that's the reason why they are naturally lean, is because they actually don't eat that much and they think
most
they
people
do.
are under eaters.
And really the heavy people that are really obese will come to me. I've tried every diet, I've tried everything. Well, you've tried everything except for being in a caloric deficit. Usually I have to cut their calories in half. So the people that are coming to me for extreme weight loss, that's the gray area, because they have such a body fat storage that I can kind of cheat and get away with if I think they can psychologically handle a little bit lower calories. I mean, I always try to do minimum effective dosages, but when dealing with a really obese person, you can diet pretty hard, and literally you'll survive on your body fat, right? So it's a good way to get. So again, that's super subjective, right? So it all depends on the person and their goal.
Totally agree.
I think
so from there, it's just kind of figuring out what your goals are and how your body's gonna work. Next question. What is your favorite attribute in terms of coaching about each other? So I'll let you answer that one first.
Sure. And actually, anyone that follows me, I kind of spoke on this a week or so ago. I guess for me, Megan is so like easy to relate to and easy and approachable, which I'm working on because I'm not always that way, and I'm getting better.
I think he's approachable, but he's a lot more opinionated, maybe, or like.
That's a good word.
Like he's very, but it's good though. Like he speaks the truth, and he's very open about everything. And I think to some people it might come across intimidating or something.
And I get that, and I'm working on the way I deliver things, and I'm always learning and getting feedback and stuff. But I find Megan's really, I don't know the word I'm looking for, but she's just very graceful in her approach, and I've tried to incorporate some of that into my own. And if we're talking about I don't really know if this question was geared towards like a personality trait or, but like things like that you can't teach. You could teach me, but I'm never gonna get it across as well. Like some of the, her healthy eating foods and stuff, and these recipes she comes up with. I've been to her posing clinics. I've been to some actually famous, quote unquote, famous people's posing clinics, and hers are better. And these were just the beginning, And the way she delivers it to people, they just understand it. I watched all of her clients, and whether they won or didn't win, it was like, man, their posing is really good. Whether they were a first timer, especially, it's like usually the first timer up on stage does not look like that. So that's a direct reflection of how good you are at that.
Thank you, I appreciate it. So my favorite attribute about Dillon is the fact that he is super open about everything, and he's willing to spend like hours upon hours researching and then delivering all this information to you guys. And I think what I really like about that is that, like, not only is it to his clients' benefit that he has all this knowledge on, like, say, supplements or like the nutrition, the training, like he has knowledge on every aspect, which is amazing, because a lot of people are like really good at nutrition but they lack the supplement knowledge, or they lack the training, or whatever, one or the other. And he spends hours researching it. And like what I like about that is, I always say, like, you're student first. You're always learning. You should always be learning new techniques. You should always be like, if someone comes to you with a question and you're not exactly sure, like, research about it. Don't just give them like, I don't know, or make up an answer. Like figure it out. And that's what I think, like, Dillon legit digs into everything. So and like the fact that he'll take his own time to make videos for you guys on Instagram, or make posts or whatever, to share this information with you guys. Like, he doesn't have to do that, whether you're his client or not, and he goes above and beyond for you guys. And that, I think, is awesome, because you really are truly getting somebody who knows what he is talking about, and he's very open to learning new things and trying new techniques. It's not this way or the highway.
Well, what's funny is I always try to add value. That was always my thing, is I'm adding value some way. And contrary to popular belief, I am super open to learning new things, and I think that some people think that I'm not, because I'm opinionated about You have to keep in mind that, like, literally, guys, I'll see something or hear something, or someone will ask me something. If I don't know, not only will I research it, I'll go and clinical test it on myself. So like, I'll tell someone to tell me an exercise, and I understand everyone's different, they're gonna feel things differently. But I'll see a new style of training, like blood flow restriction training and stuff, and I can name them all, but like, I've done it all. Part of that is my personality, because like, I want to know. If there are secrets, I want to find them. It's like, I'm watching for myself, right? So if there's magic, I want to go find the magic.
He's tried it all, but he's willing to do that, not only for himself, but for his clients. So he's willing to go that extra mile to know, like, exactly what's going to be the best fit for you. And like he said, different things work for different people. And and you know what? He also, like, he's a very welcoming and supportive coach to other coaches. He supports, like, everyone in the community. He's not just like, everyone come coach with me. Like, if he thinks someone would be better suitable for me, he'll refer them to me, as I do for him. I've referred people, like, go talk to Dillon, like, I think you'd be better fit with him, or whatever, right?
Agreed.
So
and my thoughts on that is I wanted, what's funny, and this, I've taken a lot of principles from my business career and applied them here. Adding value. That's one of the things I took from business, because if you don't have value in a monetary setting, then why are you there?
Exactly.
You're not going to be there. Like, the look at me, that's show and tell. That way, that's died. No one cares about that. And the other thing is, rather than trying to fight with everyone in fitness, like, like that coach or this coach, if I can enhance fitness in general, as a whole, as a community, the more people I can bring in that are not into fitness.
Exactly.
Because trying to fight over this one client that's looking between two coaches, that's a small market to fight for. There's literally how many people that are not into fitness that maybe are wanting to get into it, that if we all show a positive side and things that they can look up to, then if they come in, then they're a potential client, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And maybe not even for me, but because their style might jive better with you or one of our other friends. But
and I think that's important because like you can really tell which coaches are in this to truly help people and make our population healthier and fitter and like better all around mentally and physically, because we support one another. And like it's with anything, the more you support each other, the better we can all grow together, right? And you'll pick out those coaches who are in it for the money and just to take and don't actually care about their clients' health.
I agree.
Yeah. So
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
One piece of paper.
So, do any of you, just a spelling mistake on my behalf, do any of you have problems lifting heavy because of your wrists?
The Ritz crackers around here.
And do you have any suggestions for wrist wraps? And actually, I do have problems. I think we both
do, actually.
We both have wrist problems, and a lot of people do. It's pretty common. And it could be different reasons. For me, I actually have carpal tunnel in my wrist. So I actually avoid a lot of heavy lifting, pressing, I was getting really into doing like body weight, tricep dips, can't do those anymore, like heavy barbell presses, like a lot of that stuff I can't really do anymore. I'll do once in a while, either lighter or I will make sure I'm wearing my wrist wraps. But even still, I find if I'm doing it often, even my wrist wraps don't really do enough. And it was getting so bad that like I'd wake up in the middle of the night with my arm completely numb, and like the pain would shoot up my elbow, and like my entire hands were going numb and stuff. And this was only like maybe 6 months ago where I really stopped and like paid attention to it, because the doctor said that I most likely, if I keep it up, I'll need surgery. Because basically what carpal tunnel is like you're deteriorating your muscles. So you need surgery to fix that, and I did not want that. So I haven't really...
doesn't sound like the program you've been on here.
Yeah, so I don't really... right? Exactly. Building the muscle, not breaking it down. So there's definitely a lot of things. Even still, like sometimes even just doing like shoulder raises and stuff like that, just holding the dumbbells in my wrist get sore, so I do wear my wrist wraps.
Do you notice it's worse if you're real dry? Like if you're really lean? Like in the like close to a contest?
No, and you know what? I actually found that interesting because I think maybe it's because my strength is down, so I'm really not like...
It's matching, your strength is matching your like relative to your joint.
Yeah, so when I'm trying to lift really heavy and I actually can, that's when it starts bothering me.
That makes a lot of sense.
When I'm pushing myself more, and you know, my sister has the same issue. She has carpal tunnel as well.
That's more of a genetic.
Yeah, it is. So that's just kind of something that I can avoid it by cutting certain things out of my training. As unfortunate as that is, but you know, there's so many other exercises that I can do to benefit what I want to do, right? Like, there's so much out there. Cutting out certain exercises is not the end all be all in any means.
And I'm going to mimic off what she said. If there's exercises that truly don't work for you, not because I don't like that or like, but there's things, so for instance, I don't know if you guys can see this, but like my one elbow doesn't go near as straight because when I got in my accident, it was broken on both sides of the joint and never casted, and then it just healed that way. And then in the meantime, I was lifting, like after my rehab and stuff, it just kind of got locked at that like 75% extension. And then I started lifting weights, and it was bugging me. And my wrist and my elbow would bug me a lot. Because in the beginning, it was just like, you need to do bench press, you need to do barbell overhead press, the basics. Yeah. Anything that my two hands are hooked to the same bar with no ability to move, well, this doesn't supinate as far. So this wrist and this elbow is taking a beating, and that's how I ended up tearing my teres minor, because this side always takes more of a beating. So I learned for me that like if it's not a dumbbell, I don't do it.
Yeah.
I don't do an overhead barbell press. I don't do a bench press because it wrecks my elbow.
You don't have to, and that's the thing is like you can adapt absolutely any workout for absolutely any person. I don't care if you are in a wheelchair or if you're 400 pounds. Like you can adapt workouts to your abilities, right? And that's where like literally I don't think there's there's no excuses. There could be some in certain instances, but there's very
few situations.
Yeah. And to not get down on yourself if you can't do certain things. Like maybe it might be an exercise you really like, but I'm sure there's other ways that you can kind of adapt it in order to still benefit you and something that's enjoyable as well. You said that Dillon said he has some good wrist wraps.
Yeah, so I use a gas wrist wrap, and they're not paying me to say this, so they should. But anyway, it's a nice like multi-ply Velcro wrap that you get around your thumb. I mean, not necessarily the brand super important, but I will say that if you buy like a cheap $10 wrist wrap, that's probably what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
Spend yourself, $50-$60 buy a pair of good wrist wraps, get them nice and tight, and wear them nice and high. I always see people like the edge of the material is at where their wrist
Yeah,
is.
you want it so that they can't bend,
You want
right?
them high, right?
Yeah.
You gotta wrap them up around the top above the wrist, and that's what
and nice and tight because you want it nice
but
and
you want it
stable,
not like I'll see people that work out and I watch them and they never have to adjust.
Yeah,
If
I
like
have
I
to
did
take them
heavy
off.
squats today,
Yeah.
my hands are almost blue.
Yeah, exactly. Like, my hands are starting to go numb because they're so tight.
Yeah.
So it can get kind of annoying constantly adjusting them, but they're so beneficial.
This is a fun one.
How often do you train abs?
I train abs after this contest that I just did, which was like 4 weeks ago now, something like that, or 3, going on 4. Anyway, I've started training them 3 to 4 times a week directly with, like, if it's back day, I'll train back and abs. Basically, whenever they're not sore. And the reason being, and I didn't ever before, I didn't train them, like, I learned how to brace my core really well, in the heavy lifts, and even while I'm just doing accessory work. And I was always under the impression, and I think that for most this does ring true, that, your nutrition and stuff will dictate, the abs are under there. And overtraining the abs, they're a muscle and they'll respond and get a little blocky and give you that. And I have a wide waist as it is. I'm very slim front to back, side to side. I have a wide boxy. So I didn't want to train abs, I didn't want to get too boxy. I will say for me individually, and probably there's people listening to this that are trying to lose weight, I'm pretty lucky that I don't have like a bunch of loose skin. But now I'm taking the approach that chicken's ready.
Food!
I'm taking. Okay. I'm taking the approach that I want to make those as blocky as I can, because my skin is not necessarily loose, but it's not tight either. I don't know. It's like I have like a watery distension to my skin. That even though there's no fat granules, it's not like tight like it is.
He's
on my
not
forearm.
Gonna get like dick skin tight.
No dick skin tight on my stomach. So like I want to try and protrude those abs out as much as I can, and I'm willing to take some oblique boxes because I'm already boxy anyway. I'm never gonna have like that severely shredded V taper, and my shoulders got injured, so I couldn't train shoulders. So now I've lost any V taper I did have, so I've just accepted it. It's okay. I'll get it back when I can. But yes, I'm training core 3 times a week.
And that's where like you see people who are at a little bit higher body fat percentage or carry a little more water, but you can still see a lot of abs. It's because they've trained them and they're blockier, so you can see them more through. So that's what Dillon's trying to achieve. I'm kind of in the same boat in terms of like my abs are very flat, so they don't stick out as much. Yeah, they don't have the 3D pop. So when I get super shredded, I draw my water, I'm super lean, I have unreal abs because they're there. But
it's just right now, even as soon as
soon as I put some water and fat back on, you can see my obliques, but
me too.
barely
I'll just
can
stay
see.
super shredded up here.
Yeah, we're kind of staying there. Like my serratus will come in super sharp, but like my front abs, to keep those are very difficult for me. If my nutrition has to be bang on like where my water is staying low. As soon as I eat like higher carbs or sodium or sugar, things like that, I put on water like that and my abs disappear. So and you know what, I don't train abs very often, really ever, like maybe once a week, but I've started doing them about 3 times a week
And I can
as
say
well.
that I don't love it. So like right now it is, I'm forcing myself to have to do it.
A tip that I have to add to that is to do your core at the beginning of your workout.
When you're the strongest.
You're
or
the
most
strongest,
energy.
you have the most energy, you're also like...
It's a good warm-up too.
Exactly, you're using your core for your lifts, right? So you're actually warming up your body, and your core is your main connected to everything, right?
It's similar, like we wanted to, we didn't get to, but when we did the back workout, the machine kept being taken, but like I've noticed that I tore my teres minor, which is a part of the rear shoulder muscles, one of the stabilizers, so now I've like over-exaggerated training that because I needed to get myself to a balanced place again, and I started training rear delts at the beginning of every back workout and chest, which I would try to space like beginning and end of the week, so they had their adequate rest. But actually weren't, and it's funny because I always used to do like rear delts at the end of a shoulder day or end of a...
Just throw it in.
It's just kind of like a capillary movement where I'm just going through it. And actually I will say that my overall chest pumps and back pumps are way better. If I hit like 5 or 6 really good warm-up sets and then into a few working sets of rear delt movement first. Because they're the stabilizers to the whole shoulder, which does pretty much in every, like,
a lot of people neglect them. Like, unless you're a competitor where you know you need to train your rear delts, like a lot of the average people, like population, neglect their rear delts.
Well, that's why I tore mine, because I didn't.
You do all the lateral raises, all the
heavy
front raises, presses, but you forget about targeting. You might do rows and stuff too, but actually isolating that rear delt, and it's very difficult to actually isolate your rear delt.
That's also the problem.
I
thought I was doing, like,
a
realistically,
lot of people just be kind of doing this, but you're not actually like
because
rotating
your arm is moving
properly.
this way, you're training that's not the way it works.
Yeah, so anyways, we both didn't train abs very often. You still can get abs without training them as often, because we still have abs, but they're not as visible, so, and we want them to be more visible.
Yeah,
so
like my friends,
now we're gonna train them more.
My lower abs were like, and again, I lost half my body weight, so like I'm not really compared to the average person, but I could barely see my six pack. Like the top rows were pretty good, the lower one I could see, but like yet I had a row of veins coming across my hips, so like I was lean enough, like you know, pretty much.
No! Almost done.